Hey everybody, it's Darlene Taylor, the Recycled Mom, and I am a certified life coach and addictions counselor. And my goal is to help women get from where they are in life to where they want to be. And today's video is a collaboration with Ingrid of Mommy and Meal Homeschool Chronicles and Kim, the Homeschooling Grammy. And it is our newest installment of our Rest in Grace series. And the title today is Walking in God's Will. And I'm sure this is a question that many of us have asked of ourselves many times at some point in our life. I'm sure we've asked, what is my purpose? What am I doing? What is God's will for my life? And though I cannot tell you what God's specific will is and purpose is for your life, but I can tell you that throughout all of the changes in your life, the underlying purpose for our lives, I can show you from the Bible and what our purpose, our underlying main purpose is, and finding that and getting in touch with that. I have a high school graduate. My first child has graduated high school just a couple weeks ago. And I'm sure if when you remember back to when you were graduating high school or college, or when you were starting to think about your future, or maybe after you just got saved and you were wondering, what am I doing? What is this all about? Is this all there is? Is there something more? And when we start hearing things about God's will and what is it, and can we really know it? I've really been, since my daughter graduated, and even leading up to graduation, we're thinking about things in the future, and we're talking about the main purpose of her life. I mean, yes, we want her to do whatever it is that God has gifted her to do, regardless, because that may change sometime later too. And I don't want her to get so caught up in, oh my goodness, this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. But what do you mean? There's something else over here and I'm changing, and I think I'm supposed to be going in this direction, but wait a minute, I'm supposed to be going in this direction. And I just want her, and I want all of us to understand that there is always an underlying purpose God has for our lives. And I want to go over that today, and how we can know for certain that we're staying on track, even though things in our lives may change. We get married, but maybe we might lose a spouse. We become a mom. We might lose a child. We have empty nests. Our kids will grow up and leave the home one day, or maybe you're not working in the workforce anymore, you're working at home, but maybe you're working at home and now you're going to be working in the outside the home. And all of these changes, it doesn't necessarily change your main purpose in life as a child of God. And so I want to take you to the book of Ephesians, and I'm going to take you in my copy of the Word. You get your copy and you can follow along too. We're going to go to Ephesians chapter 4, and we're going to look at verses 1 through 6. Right there in verse 1, you can already see the answer to this question of, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? What is God's will? And here we have the author of Ephesians, Paul. He says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. Okay, he starts right out with that. Walk worthy is our main purpose. God sent his son in John 3:16. He sent his son to die for the sins of mankind, so that the world through Christ can be saved. And then we would have a home with him and spend eternity with God. That is his desire. His goal is for the world through Christ to be saved, and he made that purpose available for everyone. That is God's desire. That is his one desire for all of mankind. All is to be with him, and that is salvation. That is when we become a child of God and part of his family. Now, that needs to happen first before we can walk with him. Once we are a child of God, and once we are part of the family, his will is that we follow him. And that's obedience. That's out of love. I can tell you this, you follow God and you follow after him. You seek his will every day. You seek what he would have you do. The closer you are in tune with him, and that's how you get in tune with him, is reading the word and through prayer and seeking godly counsel from like maybe a pastor or another mature Christian who could help you along the way and help you find the path that you are supposed to go. Regardless of whatever it is, you are seeking him, you are following him, and you are walking worthy as the child of God that you are. There's something I read once that said, we shall never succeed in knowing ourselves unless we seek God. So it's basically knowing God, knowing ourselves. And when it comes to God's will, I think this is key. If you want to know God's will for your life, you need to be in tune with him, and you can't get in tune with him if you aren't his child, number one. So first, that goes back to salvation. Once that is taken care of and you become his child, then your purpose is to follow him, and then that's seeking him. And so the more you seek him and learn about him and know about him, you're getting in tune with him, you're going to know more about yourself, and you're going to eventually find the direction and the path that you need to go. You're going to understand what God's will is for your life. And so this is what I'm teaching my kids. So my oldest has graduated, and all through maybe her, the second half, from like maybe 7th grade up, I was seeing that she has an interest in art, and she had an interest in dance for a little while, but but she had an interest in art, and I kept trying to put her in with people and in situations and in classes and these things that would encourage her to draw, encourage her to challenge herself, to see where she was going to go on this path, because it seems that she has been gifted an ability to draw, to sketch, to express herself. And also it began with writing, and then the writing became novels, and so we started putting her in areas with that. She is learning about herself with these abilities, this ability that she's been given, and we're trying to nurture that and grow that. The Bible says, train up in a child in the way he should go, and that's like in their natural bent, and her bent is writing, and it is art. And so we are doing everything to push her in those areas so that she follow her interests and see it, and see what God does with this. And she's going to have to determine her own path in this area. And you know what? It may not be something that she is going to do for the rest of her life, but it's going to be something that is a way of her expressing herself. And when I was in high school and all the way up through 11th grade, my focus was I was going to be a veterinarian, and I wanted to be that very badly. And so that was all of the focus of my schooling. And even when I went college shopping, I was looking at the schools that were going to benefit me for becoming a veterinarian, and vet schools and that kind of thing, and internships. And the summer before my senior year, everything changed. I was walking the shores along Lake Michigan, and I was at a youth camp that whole week, and I was away from the world, and I was away from all the distractions, and I felt a strong prompting that I was supposed to go into music. And I remember telling everybody, now music was a hobby at this time. I was in band, and I played flute and oboe and saxophone, and I played drums and marching band. I played the quad drums, and I loved it, but it was never going to be a thing. It was vet school. In the summer before my senior year, it just hit me so hard that I was supposed to go into music. So I remember telling my mom, I remember telling my youth leaders at the time, and talking to these people, and I remember the shock on their faces. But my mom, train up a child in the way they should go. We changed everything. We talked to school counselors, and we changed my schedule up to include choir, and I got a voice teacher, and we went gung-ho that my senior year. And I got into theater, and I started looking at theater schools that were going to be great for music and theater. And I just remember everything completely changing, and I studied and I studied and I studied, and doors just kept opening. And so I say all of that is because when you are seeking the Lord, and you are seeking and knowing more about him, and the closer that you are with him, the more in tune that the two of you are, his leadings are going to be more apparent, and you're going to understand what it is that you're going to be doing. And finding your path in life, you follow your desires, you follow your interests, because these are things that possibly God has placed in you, or he has gifted you. Everyone is born with the natural abilities and natural desires. The more that you allow him in and to develop these desires and the direction, the more it's just going to blossom. And that is for every person to do. It's not someone that's going to tell you, you're so good at this, Darlene, you'd be great in this. You've always been such a help over here, you should be in this. And I'm telling you, that is where I got screwed up a lot in my adult life. And being a wife and a mom, we were, in the church that we were in for a very long time, 17 years. And, I was good in music, and I had a lot of different abilities with that, with instruments and singing and playing piano and things like that. Everybody just automatically, oh, this is God's will for you, and had me in the music ministry. I didn't question it at the time, because I thought, that is what God wanted me to do. This is where he was going to have me be as a wife and a mom, and so involved in our church. My husband was the music director, and we were both in charge of the music ministry. It just made sense, and I never questioned it. But when I began to feel that there were other areas in my life that were being birthed, that were, when I got into our addictions ministry at our church, and I really kind of got in it for myself, for the accountability and the discipleship, and just, and I went deeper in myself, and I was learning more about myself, and then I was also learning more about God, and I was going deeper. And as I started doing that, I was realizing there's this natural ability that I've had all this time of wanting to help others and wanting to mentor, to counsel. I had this gift of empathy, if you will, of at the risk of sounding strange, being an empath, but I'm more highly sensitive in these areas. And I realized that this gift of listening and encouraging and helping others, this was starting to come out. And music allowed me to do this. Music was a great part of my life. And I can look back and say that all of the places that I've been and areas that I've performed, and yes, it taught me discipline, but it taught me how to work with other people, taught me how to put up with drama and all kinds of attitudes. But it also helped me to see how it was a natural fit for me, because my singing and my performing was an encouragement to other people, singing songs and though it was entertainment, but I was seeing it even in the church, that it was encouraging others, and it was encouraging them for worship and for maybe challenging their soul in a certain area and touching them on a different level. And it was just, all of that is all preparation for where I'm at today. When I say that sometimes what seems to be the will of God in one area, one time it may change, or it's just all preparation for like the big will of God, the main purpose. It was all leading me up, for me, it was all leading me up to today, to helping women and mentoring and encouraging women to walk worthy and to walk in the purpose, whatever that is for God. And some of these women, the purpose, just wasn't clear, but there's always the main purpose of following God. And what does that look like? That's just step by step. It is allowing God to show things to you, and allowing when your heart is open, and allowing God to take you in different areas. You're going to learn more about yourself, which might show, you might discover a new desire, a new purpose. And sometimes you have to go through the valley to find that purpose. You have to go through tough times. You have to go through what might seem like it's just all this fog. There's a quote, and I think it's from Martin Luther King. It has something to do with going up the stairs. You can't see the top of the stairs, but you take that step anyway. You take that step in faith. Even then, you can't see the top of the stairs. You have one step at a time, and you take that next step, and then you reveal the next step. And it's because I'm going to tell you now, the things that I've learned, the Lord isn't going to show you the whole staircase. I can't see what is down my road, as a wife, as a mom, as with my homeschool. I really can't see. I've always said I'm just going to take 1 year at a time with homeschooling. Well, in my life, it's got to be one step at a time, one step at a time. But then I can turn around and look back and say, wow, look at all those steps. Look how high up I am. Look how far I've come. And that's encouraging. I can look back and say, wow, I really am moving along this path that God has for me. I really am walking in God's will. It just doesn't seem like it because I can't see everything in front of me. And that's where my trust comes in. And I have to trust that the Lord has everything. He's going to reveal to me what I need when I need it. You know, if I'm going to try to see the whole staircase, and I'm going to want to plan everything, and I'm going to want to say, okay, I'm going to get that step and do that. And my thing is, I need to plan just to get to the next step. I need just to get to the next level, because God knows me, you know, and I'm sure this is for all of us. If we were to see the whole staircase, or if we were to see the end and the outcome, we would probably want to try to micromanage everything and do everything in our own power. And God's like, no, this is what I want you to do, but I'm just going to give you this right now, because this is all you can handle. I look back over the last 18 years of my daughter's life, and 18 was so far away. And yet here we are, and she's going to be 19 next month. And wow. And, you know, watching her go across that stage, we presented her with her diploma, but it was like, wow, here we are taking these final steps to end this one chapter and begin another chapter. And wow, it's just, I never thought of being at this place. And had I seen it all those years ago, I probably would have done things differently and not the way God had intended. And maybe we wouldn't have gotten there. I don't know. I'm not going to what if this thing to death. So when we're going along this path, we're going up these stairs, you know, God really wants us to enjoy the process, and that takes a lot of trust to feel the joy of the whole process of walking the stairs and trusting and learning about yourself and learning about God. So the doing is our responsibility, okay? My doing is to follow Christ, to seek Him, to learn about myself, to be in tune with Him. And that is my responsibility, and the result is God's responsibility. And it really is. And sometimes trusting God with the result is the hardest part. But I'm just sharing with you what some things are that I have learned just in my own life, and also trying to help my kids discover what is for them. And I also know that we may not understand everything right now. We may not understand the path or see the path clearly. But I can tell you this, Paul wrote that in the Bible, and he wrote from prison, and he was in prison and wrote with confidence, saying, I am confident of this one thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you is going to complete it. I paraphrase that horribly, but in other words, in prison, he was confident that whatever the Lord had started on him, it was working on in him, that he was going to complete it. Things that I have faced every year as a homeschool mom, every new thing that comes into my life, every new opportunity, is exactly what my daughter is facing, as she is, you know, a legal adult and has the entire world, all these decisions that she can make, and as you know, and people are coming up and asking her, what do you want to do? You know, what's next? And she's like, I don't know. I can't even figure out what I want from Taco Bell. You know, and you want me to figure out my life? I know for me, walking with the Lord for my kids, that is what's going to make me happy. You know, there's no greater joy than knowing that my kids are walking with the Lord and they're building a relationship with Christ, because that is what is going to take them everywhere in life and help them make their decisions on what they're supposed to be doing. And I just know that throughout all of this and all of the different things that happen in life, following Christ is the main purpose. And I know, and I can say that that is God's will for your life and my life, is to follow Him. That is what He wants from all of us. And when we are following, we will discover more about Him, and we will discover more about ourselves in the process. And then we can confidently say, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I always picture a compass, and taking that compass, and you know how you have to align your compass to true north. And that's kind of what I envision here. When you are knowing that you are in God's will, is when that compass is tuned to true north, and that is the direction that you can go. But you have to get in tune first with the Lord. And so I encourage you to take some time and line yourself up. Find where your true north is and find some answers in your life if you're not sure if you are walking in God's will or what He has in store for you. So I wish you all the best, and I thank you for watching, and please check the playlist for the rest of our Rest in Grace series videos from Ingrid and Kim. And I love you all, and I will catch you in the next video.